ramps, geysers, and launch pads. For a long time, we didn't use these things for much. Ramps weren't even something that could be built. You had to use stairs or a roof piece. But today, that all changes. I'm here to add a small bit of functionality to these items so that we can have a little bit more fun in our worlds. All right, guys, my name is Flocka. I hope you're ready. We're just gonna be clear, concise, and try to get this done. So we're gonna start with the ramp. All right, I'm gonna show you guys how to build it, a simple one, and then you can go off of what I show you to build your own angles. It really just matters how high you build it, and yada, yada, yada. You can use the 45-degree trick to build it at an angle. You can do whatever you need to, but this is how you build the ramp. It can be built at any angle, which is really nice. It gets minimal air because it's dependent on the car, but it can look nicer because you cannot build roads on top of the Launchpad floor pieces, so you can't make those areas look as nice as you can with a ramp. You can build that trim all the way on the side. If you haven't seen my racetrack video, make sure you go do that so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, outside of that, here's the ramp. It's beautiful. You can jump off the edge. I suggest not using floor pieces. All right, if you are going to land on some sort of platform, you have to make sure that it is supported by a foundation. It doesn't have to be touching the ground, but you have to be landing on a foundation piece, not a floor piece. Otherwise, your go-kart, your car, whatever you're using is gonna get stuck inside of the floor. Now, this works when you hit geysers, it works when you hit launch pads, and this works when you drive off of regular ramps. So you wanna make sure that wherever you're landing, your landing zone is made up of foundations. Now, moving on to the geyser. The geyser we all know and love from the early days of LEGO Fortnite. When traveling was an issue, it was one of the quickest ways to get around the desert biome, which happened to be the most important biome at the time. With the geyser, you can build floors above it so that you can hide them, so you can put them inside of like launch tower areas or whatever you're gonna do. And you can also use this on aircraft. So if you have an aircraft that is flying low to the ground and you want some elevation to get a little bit of a hover, you can fly this above the geyser and get that air. Gives you an extra boost as well. If you put this underneath a launch pad, you're gonna find yourself getting even more air if you use those two together. And last but not least, we have the launch pad. It's been in the game for a while now, guys, and honestly, it's been all right, but now that we can use it with vehicles, it is even better. So we're gonna build just a small little platform with this underneath. I'm gonna show you guys how to do this, and then I'm gonna also show you how to build a ramp thing so that you can get up onto this with your vehicle, obviously. But if you're just putting it underneath like a landing platform or like a walkway or something, feel free to just skip through the ramp part. But yeah, just any width, whatever you're doing. And I would recommend, honestly, not just going with one launch pad, because then it's kind of hit or miss. So if you're using this for vehicles, you're gonna want to use 3 at minimum, and you're gonna want to pattern it like this. So you're gonna want to place one in front and then butt to nut all the way up those launch pads on the sides there, because your tires don't always register on just the one launch pad, but if you have some on the side, and it kind of almost forces it to go off every time. So yeah, this is how you build the platform. You can just throw it literally right on top of the launch pad. Pretty easy. If you put anything on top of these floors, though, you will deactivate the ability of the launch pad. If you put it on top of the floor where the launch pad is sitting. If you put stuff on these floors that are behind the launch pads, everything should be fine. But just keep that in mind if you're wondering why your launch pads aren't going off. If you put trim on your road or something, it's because they're not going to activate if you have to place items on top, because that kind of stops the launch pad from registering through the floor is having another item on top. Sorry, that can be kind of a ramble. I can ramble sometimes. I really need to work on it. But guys, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. If you are, please consider hitting that like button, hit the sub. We're on the way to 1,000 subs. I'd really appreciate having you guys be a part of the community. This is that ramp part. Just like building the first ramp, you just throw a dynamic foundation on the slant that you need, and you'll have yourself an easy ramp. Now, also with ramps, you can use launch pads on them. You're just gonna take the foundation, the sidewalk foundation, or any type of pillar, and you're gonna build a ramp the same exact way that you did before, except this time you're gonna use foundation pieces for the bottom. For some reason, the launch pads aren't going to register if you just set them underneath the floor, which you can put them like that. But if you don't have foundations underneath the launch pad, then when you drive over the top of the vehicle, it's not going to register. You're not going to be able to do anything. But yeah, you just build it the same way as the other ramp. We're going to do the same pattern too. We're going to do 3 launch pads. We're going to do 1 in the front and then 2 pinching it from behind. And then we're gonna put our flooring on the top, and that's gonna create our launch pad ramp. Now, when you hit this with your vehicle, it's gonna launch you backwards, but if you have a thruster on the back, it's gonna push you forwards. So I'm gonna be using this in combination with everything that I've learned to create the craziest track within the next few months. I have a lot of projects coming up, but it is on the docket. I might even just do it in creative. That way I can save myself some time. But we're gonna have some crazy races coming up. I'm super excited because all of these mechanics are amazing. Now, speaking of racing, I want to address what types of cars can be used on this. So I had a few issues with like medium and large tires. They aren't registering on the launch pads, but if you use the smaller tires, it registers every single time. Also, I think it might have something to do with how close the driver's seat is to the ground. So you're gonna wanna maybe make vehicles that are a little bit lower. And then if you are gonna use medium wheels, make sure that you have them high enough so that only a small amount of the wheel is actually on the ground. That way you can still build different types of go-karts and racers, but you are still getting the fun out of the launch pads underneath the ramps. When you hit this ramp with the vehicle, it's gonna make you go backwards a little bit, obviously, because it's pushing you in the direction of the floor. So you want thrust on the back. Otherwise, it's just, you're gonna look ridiculous. I'm excited to see what you guys do with all of these things that I'm showing you though. If you get some air, and as you can see, I go forward here, and you combine the foundation trick for the landing spots, or even just use the ground or whatever. I'm really excited to see what you guys do. That being said, make sure you join the Discord and the Craftopia Discord as well, because we have the greatest builders in the world working on stuff, collaborating efforts, teaching people things. And speaking of teaching people things and also collaborating, the Geyser and the Launchpad together, like I was screeching at the beginning of the video, if you build the foundation and you put the front launch pad over the Geyser and then pinch the 2 behind it in the triangle formation like I showed you earlier in the video, you will get insane air, right? Because the launch pad and the Geyser are activating at the same time. So watch this. Incredible, right? The Flocka space program in full bloom right before your very eyes. I'm just kidding, but I mean, are you kidding me? I'm gonna be able to build insane tracks with the craziest jumps. I'm excited to see what you guys do with this as well. If you guys enjoyed the video, please, like I said earlier, consider slapping that like button. Join the community, hit the sub button. We're on the way to 1,000. I'm hoping we can just run straight through it. That being said, we launched our car straight into the water and we ended it with a dance. Guys, take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.